Hi everyone, welcome to Fat to Thin Seniors RNY. I'm Raven, I'm 76 years old and I had gastric bypass surgery on December 16, 2019. Medicaid approved the surgery. Last week I talked about chasing restrictions, just one more bite. You know that feeling, right? In this vlog I'll be talking about fear, anxiety, and forgiveness. I don't know how much of this will be about the surgery, but if you're curious, please join me on this journey. Continue to watch and please comment. Last week I talked about chasing restrictions. I talked about how we all have that just one more bite attitude about almost everything. It's a form of self-sabotage. So, in this time, stay safe. Don't self-sabotage with this disease. The results are negative, you know. As you know, the world is changing with this virus. And some of it is staying the same, which is pretty good. Things that are changing, the virus, for instance, it jumped from animal to human. Well, this isn't the first time this has happened. And it's not the first time we've been this scared. HIV jumped from animal to human in 1959. Now, I was born, I was in my prime. During the sex revolution, the free sex generation of the 60s, early 70s. HIV put a real damper on sex. I mean, for instance, orgies stopped. People were afraid to hug for a while. I mean, I don't remember anything about handshakes, but I do remember people didn't want to hug, which was terrible, actually. There's still a lot of negativity about HIV. I think people want to just equate it to what your sex is as opposed to how you get it, It became less of a gay disease when they found out that more women had it than men. And these were not bisexual women or gay women, These were just ordinary, everyday women who got it. And they still do. They used to be, talk about how people self-sabotage and whatnot. Years ago, there used to be HIV parties where people who had the HIV disease or people who wanted to get the disease would go to an orgy. These were real things. And as far as I know, they're probably still going on. I don't know why you would want to get a disease like this. But there are people, okay? So you got to kind of, figure out where you want to be. Things are staying the same, too. I think what's happening is that the media is showing more of the good stuff. Because this good stuff has been going on all the time. I mean, I've had neighbors show up at strange times, and it's just amazing, sometimes. And it's been happening for years. I have people that show up with the right thing at the right time, and you don't even know who the heck they are, It's just amazing. I mean, for instance, when I moved into this rig just a little over 9 months ago. I left a rather non-interesting relationship, and I was at the point I was homeless. I was in my car and not knowing what to do next, and I had bought a 6x12 trailer, which I was going to convert, put windows in, that kind of stuff, and then just travel up and down the West Coast, maybe join a couple of caravans, visit the parks, that kind of good stuff. But I needed time. I needed time to do the work. And I got called into the park office and they told me I had 10 days. There's no way in hell I could have done that work in 10 days. Especially considering that I was at least 35 pounds heavier than I am now and was hurting everywhere. And I probably would hurt everywhere if I tried that now. But I don't have to, So here I was. I was sitting in the car. I came back from the meeting and I was sitting in the car and just sitting in the car because my mind just totally, absolutely went blank. And this woman knocks on my window and says, I don't know you, I don't know anything about you, but I know of 3 different trailers that are for sale. That changed my life. Amazing, miracles, sharing is going on. I think it's a wonderful thing that the media is finally showing that there are really decent people in the world. I had a neighbor knock on my door. I went Tuesday. Tuesday, the park got a wholesale delivery of food and supplies and sold it at cost to the people who live here in the park. So I went over there and I got a roll of toilet paper because, 5 rolls of toilet paper isn't enough, Anyway, I got it because I figured, what the heck, even though I use the bidet and everything else. So anyhow, I got some stuff. And I came home and I put the eggs, I got some eggs, I put them in the refrigerator and got a knock on the door. Didn't even have time to close the refrigerator. And there's a neighbor who I don't remember if I've ever seen him before. But he pointed across the road, so he must be in one of those rigs across the road here. And he hands me the bag, and it has 10 eggs. Well, they didn't have dozens; they had 10s. It had 10 eggs. I'll call it a dozen. Gave me a dozen eggs and 2 chicken legs. The quarter, because they had been selling chicken too. But I didn't buy any chicken. But that's okay. So I said, no, it's okay. I don't really need it. I'm okay. He said, here, take it. So I took it. And then I thought, well, I can't eat the chicken. I don't really have any space in my freezer for it or anything else. I mean, I could probably screw around, but I won't be eating chicken for quite some time here. So, and I already had bought a dozen eggs, and I already had a dozen eggs. So I called up a young couple here in the park who both the man and the woman are out of work because they both work in the food industry and their respective places of employment closed down. So we gave it to them. Now you might be worried about, oh, what about if he had the virus and passed it to me? But what about the people who passed it to him? Where does it end? Or does it? Or do we just finally get over this and stay safe, wash, and that kind of good stuff, but, be civil and keep going and try and expect that you won't die tomorrow from this disease. Okay. So I think that it's a wonderful thing that they're finally putting the good stuff on the news. And it's evident that people are happier helping. There's the other thing too. When you were born, at some point you realize that you're born and you're going to die. Not only you're going to die, but everybody's going to die. And not only everybody, but everything is going to die. And that probably pissed you off. I know it pissed me off. I don't remember the day that I realized that, but I am sure that I was pissed off. So we need to wrap our heads around the inevitable. This has happened before. This will happen again. There will be various variations on this happening again. We just need to get our heads around it. I think the reason that we're all really afraid is because of the lockdown itself. It separates you. You can't hug somebody when you need a hug. And you don't know, no way to know if you've got the disease and can pass it on to somebody else or what. Or if somebody knocking on your door to deliver a package has it. You just don't know. Okay? But my oldest daughter, sent me an article about one of the things that, it's all anecdotal evidence, but what they're saying is that a lot of the people who have had the disease and who have gotten through it to the other side, at some point before they started showing symptoms, of the disease itself, they lost their taste and their smell for about 4 days, and completely suddenly lost it. So to me, that's an indicator of, at least if that happens to you, immediately to quarantine yourself. You know that you got it. You don't have to worry that, oh my God, I might have it. Or when you finally show up with symptoms and you didn't know about the taste and the smell thing, you realize how many people you have infected, which could lead you into a really mental downward spiral. So realize that this is anecdotal evidence, but it's still evidence. You have a fighting chance somewhere in there. The other bad thing about this whole deal is there's no end date to this lockdown, And we want to get on as people, do the usual, don't bother me, I need to do what I need to do and screw everything else. But there's no end date. You have to stay with yourself until however long. And the thing that gets me the most is that our beloved president, beloved man that he is, wants us to group together in bunches bigger than 10 or 3 in a church soon so that we can share our love of this virus. So maybe he's got a magic something that will alleviate the virus by Easter. Maybe he's got some kind of on the injections. Who knows? And anyway, I don't know if this virus speaks English or not. Will you think it'll understand him? At any rate, not to be really nasty, the other bad thing about this lockdown, there's no fraternizing with friends or family who could help with anxiety. But you also don't get to sit around and munch and talk and play and laugh and that kind of good stuff. Thank goodness there's the technology we have available now that we could do, FaceTime and that kind of stuff, which I don't do, but that's okay. The other thing is about this lockdown is you've got to stay out of the pantry. You've got to stay off the phone and calling for food deliveries, because you and I both know that when that pizza gets there, you're going to eat more than one slice. And in my case, that means the whole box, because I'm the only one here. So then I was thinking, okay, so I've got all of this food and stuff in the house. Should I eat all my favorite stuff first and then just leave the rest, hoping that we'll get over this and I can replenish all of that stuff? Or what? So right now, I'm kind of sort of eating all of the stuff I like first. And then there's the what about leftovers and food waste. I mean, suppose this carries on for months and months and months, which they expect it will. I mean, you got to look at the rest of the world. They're not doing this. They're not clearing this up in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And that's the way it is. So when you cook and whatnot, should you cook a lot and freeze it, save it, can you, whatever, you know. And then there's food waste. I mean, I threw out some stuff. I was eating, I think, 3 things for an entire week, and I still had leftovers, which I managed to throw out. And I felt guilty about it, because I don't know that in the future I'm going to have food or not, which I suspect I will, and I've got a hell of a lot of it here, you know, and so does everybody else. Who knows? But I'm sure that it causes some anxiety along with all of the rest of the little things. Like, for instance, which I was going to mention a little bit further down, but that's okay. I've got laundry. Now, I don't have a washing machine and dryer. I have access to a washing machine and dryer. I mean, it's like right across the road. Well, it's 2 rows over. But do I use a public washing machine or not? You know, I don't have a whole heck of a lot of space to hang things. And I've managed to accumulate 4 loads. So if you see me wearing the same shirt, that means I haven't done the laundry yet, okay? That's the way it goes. Oh, God. Anyway, I think that this is a good time to forgive yourself. This is a good time to learn to meditate, to forgive yourselves for, and others, and things that have happened, situations, because this is an opportunity to be introspective and come out the other side as a better person. I think that also, and I keep saying I think because I do a lot of that, even though the virus itself is deadly, it's nasty, it's rude, all of that kind of good stuff, I think that it may possibly and could probably be a change for the positive, for the better. Look at, you know, a great example of that is to look at the lack of cars. I mean, we have a lack of cars running through the country. Hold on a second, I've got to take care of this problem. Okay, I'm back. So I think I was saying that this is a change for positive. And a great example is the lack of cars. The relief in emissions, the relief in pollution that's been going on. I mean, it's amazing to look at the films and things showing how last week there was this polluted and this week it has nothing, you know. I noticed here that, I mean, we're not really that polluted over in this area, but I have noticed that the air smells wonderful, that the sunsets are gorgeous and clean. Everything smells so clean. I had no idea that I was that affected by the emissions from cars, you know. To the point, well, who knows? It's been going on my whole life, so I wouldn't have noticed, right? You know, I think too, I used to be vegetarian. I raised my children vegetarian, lacto-ovo vegetarians, and they were allowed to eat meat if they ate it someplace other than my house, you know. And then when they did, they usually got sick. Anyway, it's about time that we stop eating other creatures. I mean, it's been proven to us that dogs and cats and whatnot have souls because, according to the Catholic Church in particular, animals don't have souls because they don't know how to lie. But we all know that dogs and cats know how to lie. You know, they really do. And so does every other animal out there. So they must have a soul. Okay, so if they've got a soul and we're eating them, why do we get upset when they kill us and eat us? And then we go out and we shoot them, you know? It's crazy. We need to stop eating other creatures. I mean, it's killing the planet anyway. Now, I've tasted the Impossible Burger. It actually tastes like a burger. Not a... I mean, I've tasted great burgers. It's not a great burger, but it's a good... I suppose it could be made great, depending on what you put together with it, you know. But I couldn't tell the difference between it and ground beef, except that ground beef has a little bit more gristle. I also tasted chicken tenders. That's CHICK-UN tenders. I couldn't tell the difference. The difference between some of the tenders that they use whole breast pieces, but this wasn't like this. It was like ground chicken tenders that they serve to kids in school. Our wonderful children that they give all kinds of stuff to. And I wonder why we don't eat more veggies. Now, you know, the thing is the vegetables taste pretty good. And there's such an incredible variety. I mean, there's an incredible variety of fruits and things. How come we don't eat more? Is it because we're being advertised to so much that we just can't even think of eating a vegetable? It's just amazing. I mean, there are whole cultures that are built completely around just vegetarian eating. And they're world renowned. And they're living to nice ripe old ages without one piece of meat in their entire body for their entire lives. I don't see the reason why we're doing this. So, I think that we should look at things carefully and not fearfully. My biggest fear about the surgery was that I wouldn't lose any weight. This week I'm 189.4 pounds. I'm into the 180s. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I lost 1.6 pounds this week, but I've lost 35.4 pounds since December 16th. That's 1/3 of the weight that I had to lose. I had to lose 120 pounds. And that's in 3 months. That is freaking amazing, okay? And then for some reason, I'm still holding on to that fear. Oh my God, you know, maybe it's going to, next week it's going to drop down to a half a pound, you know, or no pounds, or I'm going to gain a weight or whatever. I don't know why I hold on to that. I think, you know, I was holding on to that for so long that it has become a habit. Yeah, you never know. My second biggest fear about the surgery, this gastric bypass surgery, was that I was going to die on the table. They said, what is it, 1 in 1,000 or 3 in 1,000, something like that, people die. Okay, for no apparent reason, you know. And I thought about that for a very long time. The same reason we're thinking about it now, because nobody really wants to die, even though they may say that. I mean, there are people who try, I know. But, so, in order to get over that particular fear, I went and I did my papers at LegalZoom. I have all my medical and all of that kind of stuff. And it wasn't really overly expensive or anything like that, but for the price of it, I mean, you know, it gave me a lot of peace of mind. It was something I did not have to think about again. It was not running around in the back of my head. Considering the times we have now, it might be beneficial to look into doing your will and your power of attorneys for health and for money and that kind of good stuff. I think I paid like $149 for all of those at LegalZoom, but you can get parts. I mean, you don't have to do all of that. I was in a strange situation that I needed to get my shit together, you know. So, obviously I didn't die on the operating table. I didn't really expect to die on the operating table. But I had that worry, so I needed to alleviate that worry. It was a matter of do something. Just don't sit around and worry. You know, just get it handled, okay? I feel too, is kind of funny about this lockdown, is that I feel like I should be doing something creative, something that's going to involve helping the world and getting, do something positive. Something that doesn't involve increasing my body size. Like, I'm not going to take up professional cooking or anything like that, but I feel like I should be. Okay. I've been reading a lot, mostly audiobooks. I've put a link in the description for really inexpensive audiobooks, like $2 and $3 compared to audiobooks.com, which is $15 to $25 per book. Like, who the hell can afford that? I have been playing my guitar. I've been playing my baby here. I bought it for my 70th birthday, and I seldom played it. Mostly because, I don't know, I just didn't play it. But I've been playing it lately, and my fingertips are killing me, okay? Because it's a steel string acoustic guitar. I've also been finding that I'm awake a lot. And I think about just the weirdest stuff. Like, for instance, I've got 4 loads of laundry. And I don't have a machine. And I don't have any way to dry it. So I've been thinking about, how am I going to get this laundry washed? It's a good thing that 2 weeks ago I washed all of the sheets and towels in the house. So I'm just down to clothing. So as I said, if you see this again, I probably will wash it anyway. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I can wash a couple of things here and there, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, figure a way to hang it up in the bathroom and, open the skylight so that it doesn't moisturize the house to the point of fungus. Anyway, so this is just strange stuff that just rolls around. You know how it is. Now, for the Rowley report. Hey, Rowley, who was barking before. This is Rowley. Say hi, Rowley. Okay. He's okay. He's doing okay. He's getting socialized. See, now there's another benefit. He's getting socialized because there are a lot of dog people in this park. There are over 250 spots in this park. There was supposed to be the I think it's called the Desert 250, a 250-mile race that goes on around here, and they were booked like you would not believe last week. But of course the race was called off and everybody canceled. So the park is about, I'd say, 2/3 full. Now you figure most people in here, let's say half the people in here have a dog. That puts you around 150, 200 dogs. Most people have 2 dogs, and some of them have 3. And some of them are really big. I don't know where they're putting them, but that's a lot of dogs. So I'm getting to, there's a lot of people walking. I used to walk early in the morning, after dinner, and I would see 2, 3, 4 people walking their dogs somewhere off in the distance. There's a lot of people hanging out in the road now with their dogs. But everybody's kind of staying like 10 feet apart, and kind of shouting across to each other, how you doing, that kind of good stuff. So the friendship, the camaraderie around here is getting more intense, which is kind of cool too. So what's happening is, although he may still bark and lunge at people, and he gets really violent with that sometimes, and other dogs, he's not doing it so often. And not only that, he's not as intense as he was. He'll bark 2, 3, 4 times and then back off and sit down. Okay. I also looked up to see what kind of a dog he is, and I think he's a cross between a pit bull, a small pit bull, like a pitty terrier, a bull terrier, and a chihuahua because of his head. His head is definitely chihuahua, but the body looks really pit bull terrier. And that would explain a lot of stuff about his attitude, because he is tenacious and he wants to play all the time, and he wants to play with this toy and not that toy, you know. And I have to keep reminding myself that I wanted a dog to run with and to be happy with the dog I got, because he really likes to run. And he also reminds me daily that I need to play. So that worked out really good. So to sum up, I'm feeling pretty good. I only had one day of anxiety, and that was last Friday, which is why I posted the video on Saturday, because I was really down. I don't know why I was so far down. I mean, it's not like I don't know that I'm going to die, you know. But anyway, but I was down. And I still don't have any regrets about this surgery. In fact, I think it's one of the better things I've done with my life. And I'm still hanging around 3 ounces a meal. Anything above that, anything, you know, like 3 ounces 3 times a day is definitely too much. Because then I feel like I did it. I'm learning to eat well, eat the right foods. And good foods, good clean foods. And I'm beginning to learn how to cook in really tiny amounts. I think one of the keys is a small pot. You know, I need to get a small frying pan, because my frying pans are too big, you know. But that's next week or whenever. It'll show up. So, please like and share and subscribe and ring the notification bell. And don't forget to click show more below to see the descriptions below. There's free information. There's information about free ebooks, okay, and cheap audiobooks. Now, these are not Stephen King and that kind of stuff, but you know, they're done well. They really are. As well as info on the loss of the smell. Oh yes, on info on loss of smell and taste as early warning symptoms of the disease. So check out that about that, because although, as I said, it's not official. Couldn't think of the word. It is showing up in the majority of the cases of people who have had the disease and survived. So take care of yourselves. Blessed be. And might try hugging yourself too. What the heck? I think I'll give that a try. Take care.